in the town where I belong, there's a most accomplished fellow. He's the leader of the village choir, and his voice is warm and mellow. He drives a fruit cart around the street, and everybody knows it. He doesn't sing or rave about his fruit, he simply blows it. He's doing it all day long. It's better than any song. Though it isn't very pretty, you've got to admit it's cute. So all together let it go. Eat more fruit. It's certainly come to stay. It's a treat to hear him say, hey, fruits in season plenty there is, apples, plums, and the old raspberries. Everything is best today.
If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this: my lips, two blushing pilgrims, ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a gentle kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. Saints have hands the pilgrim's hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss.
Have not saints lips and holy palmers too?
Aye, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer.
Oh then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray. Grant thou lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake.
But move not while my prayer's effect I take. Thus from my lips, by thine my sin is purged.
I do protest, I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise. Till thou shalt know the reason of my love. Therefore, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as mine own, be satisfied.
Speak'st thou of Juliet? How is it with her? Does she not think me an old murderer? Now that I have stained the childhood of our joy with blood, removed but little from her own, where is she and how doth she? And what says my concealed lady to our cancelled love?
Ah, Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean of horrid monsters keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? For fear of that, I still will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, O you the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death.
Oh, that's excellent steel. Excellent. I like that very much. You know, you missed your vacation.
Oh, glad you liked it.
You do a marvelous job.
You call that a prison haircut?
Special privileges. You might say the warden and I are as thick as thieves.
And this favoritism, how long has it been going on?
For 23 years.
You must have murdered your pediatrician.
Well, they would never have caught me but for my fingerprints on the water pistol.
I shall let that pass, since you cannot possibly know whose leg it is that you are pushing.
Do look after him, won't you still, oh dear? I doubt if your razor's sharp enough for the famous Inspector Clouseau.
My lover.
It's a bit blurred.
Oh, it brings back memories. He reminds me of you. He, too, was handsome and in the prime of manhood. Yeah. Oh, can you wonder I fell? Oh, I wish he was here now to love and protect me. That's me. I was younger then.
Oh, that's smart.
Yes,
yeah.
My hair was nice. And this... Oh, I don't know whether I ought to show you this one.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Come on.
Oh, lovely.
What, a seat in a wood?
That seat was erected to the memory of Mrs. Gwen Lewis. She's a lady who took a lot of trouble with invalids. It was near that seat that my baby was thought of.
What, on that seat?
No, not on it exactly, nearby.
Oh, in the bushes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he was rough with me.
Oh, uncomfortable, was it?
I couldn't describe my feelings. Oh, I don't think the fastening on this thing I'm wearing will last much longer. Oh, Mr. Sloane, now look what you've done. You've knocked the photos on the floor. Oh, Mr. Sloane, you should wear more clothes. I believe you're as naked as me, and there's no excuse for it. I'll be your mama. I need to be loved.
You know, a couple of years ago, I met a bloke similar to yourself. He was an expert on the adolescent male body. He'd completed an exhaustive study of his subject before I met him. He wanted to photograph me for certain interesting features I had, which he wanted the exclusive right of preserving. But during the course of a magical night, he talked to me of his principles, offered me a job if I'd accept them. And like a fool, I turned him down. Now, what an opportunity I lost, Ed. Now, if you were to have made the same demands, I'd answer loudly in the affirmative.
Do you mean that?
In future, you'd have nothing to complain of.
Oh, do you really mean that?
Let me live with you. I'll cook for you. I'll wear my jeans out in your service.
I'll eat out.
I'll bring you your tea in bed.
Ah, you women have tea in bed.
You bring me my tea in bed, then any arrangement you fancy.
Yeah, come on, sit down. Bring the car round.
Eddie! Dada's dead!
Yeah, I know, we know. We thought it might upset you.
Beautiful.
You're wonderful, baby, you're wonderful!
Jake said you wanted me over. What's the trouble?
No trouble, just too much action. Hello, Herbie! Great, very fantastic, baby, really wonderful!
Listen, kid, I'm taking out these two ravens after the show, and I promoted that blonde bird over there.
Oh, Barry, you mean you brought me all the way from London to tell me that? Let Herbie take it. What do you want? Steve, what's the curtain call?
I'm not trying to pull her, Peter. She's a bloody marvelous singer. I want her for my TV show. Now sign her up.
Look, I've got to go now.
I'm taking her the call. They're going mad.
Here, Jake can handle it.
You must be joking. She's got class.
Come on, take her out. Look, you're staying in Paris. Come back with me tomorrow.
Tomorrow's my wedding anniversary.
Peter, do it for me.
Now,
I'm sure your bitter heart will
sex
understand.
is a very wonderful thing. Well, it's something that your mother thinks that I think you ought to know, and she thinks now's the time that you ought to know it now.
Mother, how have you got him going? He's never talked so lucidly in his life.
Your father wishes me to say that he's troubled by certain things that you don't seem to be aware of.
Then if he could just draw, mime, suggest, act, any of them, we could all have lunch.
When it comes to a question of the utmost tact, your father is inhibited. Fortunately, being an artist and not an academic, I'm spared these scruples. Your father wishes me to make it clear, as all my books make clear, that life is best with a person of the opposite sex.
Who?
Opposite sex.
Is this what you wanted to tell me?
More or less to the word.
Well, for Christ's sake, why tell me this? Is it some kind of confession? Have you been feeling up the first year behind the gym?
At least, sir, perhaps you will tell us to whom we are so much indebted.
Oh, of course, I'm sorry. My name is Willoughby, ma'am. And you may find me for the next few weeks at least down at Allenham House, which is a mile or so along the road. But I hope you will permit me to call again tomorrow to make my inquiries after the invalid. It was about this time, you see, that certain matters became public. Certain matters, you understand, resulting from a previous youthful indiscretion. Do I make myself clear?
You do. Though how you have the effrontery to speak of such matters is almost beyond my comprehension.
Because I must be absolutely frank with you. But if you think for one moment, Miss Dashwood, that I feel no shame, then I can assure you that you are quite wrong.
Go on.
Oh, God, that awful day when I had to tell your sister that I must return at once to London will ever remain etched in my mind. Your mother, as I remember, rubbed salt in the wound by her kindness in asking me to come back. But the situation was by then such that there was no possibility of return. Imagine my state of mind on that long trip back to London. Your sister's affections destroyed, my inheritance gone, and all my affairs completely in ruins.
Your situation was truly deplorable, Mr. Willoughby, but hardly so desperate as that of the poor creature whose life you had so thoughtlessly ruined.
Miss Dashwood, my conduct was extremely wrong, I'll admit. But in these matters, you know, the fault is very seldom solely on the one side. Well, goodbye, Miss Dashwood. I thank you for bearing with me for so long.
You are not driving straight back to London.
Oh, yes, tell Mary. Tell your sister from me that she has never been dearer or more precious to me than she is at this very moment.
I will.
Thank you. Goodbye, Miss Dashwood. God bless you.
Goodbye.